So welcome to another one of our sessions. As usual, our idea sharing webinar / podcast. No. Today, our guests are two, Eyob and Eyna. They're going to be helping us throughout the whole class. They're going to be presenting and play or no. Their topic today is going to be SQL Server Configuration Assessment. And throughout our 1 hour session, they're going to help us go through everything and figure out how to configure SQL Server. So, introduce what do you guys do, what the topic is about, and
all right, thank you, Naom. ይሰማል ሁላችሁም? ይሰማል?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, welcome to this session. My name is Eyob. I've been a DBA for some time. ዛሬ ፕሬዘንት የምናደርግላችሁ ወይ ዲስከስ የምናደርገው ቶፒክ is SQL Server Configuration Assessment. ስለ SQL Server Configuration Assessment ስናወራ we are going to talk about or we are going to discuss about areas that needs to be configured properly after installation እና እሱን ዲስከስ እናደርጋለን። Before I start, I'm going to discuss few points as introductory note. እኔ ከመጀመሪያ በፊት ግን I will leave the floor for Eyna to introduce herself, and then I will take up the introduction section. Eyna, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi guys, Eyna Parallelization. I've been DBA for quite some time. Today we have PostSQL Server Configuration Assessment. So we're going to discuss about that today, and he's going to take you through the introduction, and then I'm going to take you through some points that I covered on my work so far. The assessment and then we'll have a demo at the end, just some couple of things. Yeah, so that's how it's going to be. Introduction.
All right, let me share my screen quick. Okay. So ይታያችኋል?
Yes.
All right, okay. So the topic of our today's discussion is SQL Server Configuration Assessment. I'm gonna discuss or go through few points as an introductory note, trying to like guide you what we are going to discuss in this session, and then leave the floor for Eyna. Okay. Well, SQL Server, when we talk about installation and configuration, well, the first step is like installing a SQL Server. Yes, that's like the first step in terms of creating a robust and efficient database environment. However, we don't just install SQL Server and leave it as it is with default values or configuration. There are some areas, there are some places, there are some items that we need to configure so that our SQL Server would perform and function properly, and as it is also within the range of like Microsoft recommended or best practices. So after we have successfully installed SQL Server, there are certain areas or important configurations that we need to implement. But this is not always being followed. Time and again in different companies, in different environments, we see that SQL Server is just installed with its own, with just the default values. In today's presentation, we are going to go through some real-life scenarios whereby SQL Server has been just installed and has not been configured. And always when we look into our environment, we need to like check, we need to assess how the SQL Server that we work on is configured in order to find out all this misconfiguration. And today's presentation also discuss about how to fix or how to rectify those misconfigurations. So the presentation would involve screenshots and examples that shows like common mistakes and how to solve or how to rectify such kind of common mistakes in SQL Server configuration after installation. So the presentation would also highlight best practices to follow, yes, after we have installed SQL Server. And finally, the presentation would show you, for example, how a misplaced system database files could be like that system being installed together with or placed together with operating system can be changed, can be rectified. Eyna is going to show you this in her demonstration. This is, in a nutshell, this is what we are going to discuss. I'm going to leave the floor to her so that she can go through some of the important points that need attention when we install SQL Server and check it after that we have really put in place a configuration that would enhance performance, that would enhance security, and also overall manageability of our SQL Server instance. With this, I would leave the floor or the session to Eyna to discuss the remaining points. Thank you.
Thank you, Eyob. So guys, በመሀል ጥያቄ ካላችሁ መጠየቅ ትችላላችሁ። እኔም ወይም Eyob ሼር ማድረግ እንችላለን። አይዲያስ የምናውቀው ከሆነ እንመልሳለን። So አሁን Eyob እንደነገራችሁ we kind of found out some misconfigurations. ይሄ ደግሞ በሪል ሲናሪዮ ነው ያየሁት። I've been working in this company now. The company has been there for 21 years ምናምን ግን they've been using SQL DBA for almost like 15 years. Again, but things you might see it, oh, they would have known, like how they don't know, they don't know, so you might have like, you know, be in that kind of environment where you had to do assessment in the IDs. They might have not known a lot of things, and now whatever you guys are learning from here, just take it seriously. You might need it. You might gonna suggest them or do an assessment, and not. So it might help you in that way. So those are like common misconfiguration, Nacho. So one of the things, let me share my screen because of a feed. You guys can see my screen now?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so one of those things that we've find out or did assessment on was improper memory allocation. Improper memory allocation ማለት so it has been on default value ማለት ነው. Does anybody know how to know default ላይ መሆኑን የሚያውቅ ሰው አለ? Memory has not been configured. Anybody? No, let me just show my screen. So memory allocation, if you guys come to the properties and then see the memory, then the maximum memory server for SQL Server by default value line. I guess you guys would know by experience, and also if you guys come here and then see the memory of the server, and then if it's here by default, that means it was given to the SQL Server, the whole thing, the whole memory. So what does it mean is if SQL Server is in default configuration, it uses the RAM as much as the operating system is willing to give. And now this can lead us to where it will start the operating system in a sense like operating system ብዙ application ቢኖረው ወይም ደግሞ የተለያዩ applications or ፋይሎች ምናምን ቢኖሩ ሁሉንም ነገር SQL Server እየተጠቀመ ስለሆነ which is like 100% እየተጠቀመ ስለሆነ እንትን ይላል ማለት ነው. It will start the operating system ማለት ነው. So usually a best practice, let me go back to the screen. Sorry. So usually the best practice is giving 80% to SQL Server and 20% to operating system. Again, before we do this change or this implementation, ከማድረጋችን በፊት we have to check the average memory consumption for the operating system and SQL Server. But the best practice would be giving 80% for SQL Server because SQL Server kind of consume more memory. So we have to give enough amount for SQL Server as well as 20% for operating system. By doing so, like if we did not utilize the memory, we will face performance issues, slow running queries, and not more. After we change, we have to implement, we have to monitor the performance after change. We will face a lot of performance issues and then slow running queries. Like I said, the way we determine is by looking at our memory and then giving 80% of this. This is by MB, so you guys have to do the calculation to give 80% for SQL Server, and that's how you guys would give 80% for SQL Server, and then 20% would go to operating system, naturally. So the other thing we came across was, so this is like when I was doing the assessment, this is what I found in my real environment. So it was left by default, and we had about 130 GB roughly is Zakawino, but they have not configured it. So we should know the best practices. And the other thing we came across was the SQL Server Query Governor. The SQL Server Query Governor is set to 5 minutes. As you guys see it here, that is by second now, that is 5 minutes ማለት ነው. So this will prevent us from running long query executed remotely. So this doesn't include when we are like running locally, again remote ሆነን serveraችንን connect አድርገን if we have a long running queries ከ5 ደቂቃ በላይ የሚሆነውን prevent ያደርጋል. It has its own downside in a sense. There might be a time we need to run it for 5 minutes, and then there is a time maybe we want to monitor queries that is running long hours and then cause us performance issues. So the company behavior, like ያሉትን ነገሮች አይታችሁ, that's how you should set it. But 5 minutes, I do think it's በጣም አጭር time ነው. We might have very important queries that has to run. So we need to configure. If you guys want to like just check it where you can find it, you come here, properties. Here you just have to change, and if you guys make it 0, that's default. That means any queries can run for as long as it's running. Do you guys have any questions so far? ጥያቄ ያለው አለ? ጥያቄም ከሌላችሁ የለኝም. That's fine. Okay. ሶስተኛው parallelism configuration ነው. Parallelism configuration, the cost threshold for parallelism and max degree parallelism should be customized in order that allows SQL Server to utilize CPU properly. So if we have not configured it properly, this will face us lots of 6 packet weights. So metricsum gather በማድረግ checking the duration of database integrity እና እንደዚህ የመሳሰሉት ነገሮችን database backup jobን analyze አድርገን then we had to like configure ማድረግ አለብን ማለት ነው። In a simple form, if you guys see it here, cost threshold for parallelism 5 ነው የተሰጠው። max degree for parallelism 0 ነው። ይሄ ማለት if our query cost is 5, then it can use all the CPU ማለት ነው. But we do have our query has a lot of costs like CPU cost ሊኖረው ይችላል፣ IO cost ሊኖረው ይችላል፣ memory cost ሊኖረው ይችላል፣ sorting, join cost, aggregation cost, index utilization cost, and now there are too many costs. So 5. So basically, it will use more than 5 once one query is running. And now if it's using all the CPUs, it doesn't need like land query maybe ሁሉንም CPU ነው utilize የሚያደርገው. So we need to configure it. The best practice is making the cost threshold for parallelism 50 and then max degree of parallelism 4 or 5, which means if the cost is 5, 50, then use 4 CPU and above, and the ማለት ነው. So 6 packet weight የሚባለው this occurs when multiple queries are being processed at the same time, and then one part is waiting for another to finish its work, and this will result us from the stress need to be synchronized መሆን አለባቸው. So that's the 6 pack weight የሚባለው. So you guys had to configure. So there is by query, like you guys can configure it, or you guys can come here and then properties, and then change it to 50, and then 5, or otherwise you guys can use GUI script, and then so yeah, if you guys want to check like the current set, you guys can see it is 5 and 0 cost threshold for parallelism and max degree. If you guys want to change it, so you guys can set for cost threshold for parallelism 50 and then 5. If you guys hit execute, then it will change. So if you guys come here and then see it now, it's 50 ማለት ነው. So you guys can use both ways to do. I prefer queries, but yeah, you guys have all the preference. So the other thing, we came along on our assessment. Anybody has a question?
Yeah, ጥያቄ ነበረ።
እሺ እንቀጥል።
So max dop server level configuration ብቻ ነው ወይስ database level ላይ ኮንፊገር ማድረግ እንችላለን?
Server level. It's not
Can you
database
open one
level.
and the database
Yeah.
properties like then options database configuration ወደ ላይ yeah እዚህ ጋር max dop የሚል አለ. Is it different?
It's the same thing. Let me take this.
Okay.
It's the same thing, but at the database level, you can also set it up. That is going to override the server level configuration. ለምሳሌ ያ ዴታቤዝ ውስጥ 2 CPU ብቻ እንዲጠቀም ኩዌሪዎቹ ማድረግ እንችላለን, which is going to override the server level configuration. Is that clear?
Yeah.
All right.
በምን አይነት ሁኔታ ነው ይሄንን ኮንፊግሬሽን የምንጠቀመው? ማለት የተለያየ ሊሆንበት የሚችል አጋጣሚ ምን አይነት ሲሆን ነው? ዳታቤዙ በጣም አክሰስ የሚደረግ ከሆነ ነው ወይስ ምን አይነት ኢንቫይሮንመንት ላይ ነው እንደዛ የተለያየ ኮንፊግሬሽን የምንጠቀመው?
Depends.
I mean, it depends. Like, for example, you have multiple databases on your server, and that you just want a particular database to just use a specific number of CPUs. ማለት There is no rule that you should follow in terms of configuring this, but it depends on how you want to like a specific database use a specific number of CPUs. ለምሳሌ በጣም ብዙ ወርክሎድ የሌለበት ከሆነ በጣም ሲምፕል ኩዌሪ ራን የሚያደርግ ከሆነ ምናምን እዛ server level like ከሰጠው value በታች መስጠት ትችላለህ, which means whenever a query runs against this specific database, it is going to like use that amount of or that specific specified number of CPU ማለት ነው. So there is no like a rule that you should follow, but it depends on like you have to have a good reason. like እንደነገርኩ በጣም ላይት የሆኑ ኩዌሪዎች ከሆኑ የሰርቨር ሌቭሉ 5 ከሆነ እዚህ ላይ 2 ምናምን ማለት ትችላለህ.
Thank you.
Okay. So ሌላኛው ደግሞ ሎጊን ኤንድ ሴኩሪቲ ነበር። በኔ ኤንቫይሮንመንት ውስጥ ኢንዲቪጁዋል ሎጊንስ ናቸው የነበሩት። ግሩፕ ሎጊንግ እንትን አልተባለም፣ ላይክ ክሬት አልተደረገም። And it's important to have a group logins, individual account. በትንሽ ኢንቫይሮንመንት ፕሮባብሊ ችግር ላይኖረው ይችላል ግን ብዙ ሰዎች አክሰስ የሚያደርጉት ከሆነ ሰርቨሩን ኢንዲቪጁዋል ሎጊን ከሆነ ያንን ማኔጅ ማድረግም ይከብዳል። እንዲሁም አንድ ሰው ከዛ ስራ ምናምን ከለቀቀ እሱ የሚጠቀማቸውን አካውንቶች እያንዳንዱ ነገር ላይ ሄዶ ማጥፋት ሊያስቸግር ይችላል። ሶ ቤስት ፕራክቲሱ granting access based on AD security group እና following the least privilege principle ነው። ያ በግሩፕ መፍጠሩ which is very very good for us ለሴኩሪቲ ብሪጅ እንዲሁም ለሌሎች ነገሮች ጥሩ ቢሆንም የራሱ ዳውን ሳይድ ደግሞ ያለው we might have give more privilege than necessary because they are part of the group. አንድ ሰው ሪድ ብቻ ማድረግ ሲገባው ግን እዛ ግሩፕ ውስጥ ስለሆነ ራይትም ሊኖረው ይችላል። Those things has to be like checked. ግን individual logging ካለን በጣም ብዙ እንትን የሆነበት environment ላይ አስቸጋሪ ነው። So we came across to this and then we did the assessment on that and then we suggest that it should be based on security group, AD security group ላይ መሆን እንዳለባቸው by following the least privilege. This is very important, following the least privilege principle. So the other thing was SystemDB configuration. SystemDB is a very unique system database now. And now it's a special, mostly it's used as a workspace and processing, like internal operations, like rebuilding index ሊሆን ይችላል, querying runs እናረግ ሊሆን ይችላል, DVCC checks, hash joins, hash aggregate operation የሚባሉትን ነገሮች ሁላ ሲኳል ፕሮሰስ የሚያደርገው SystemDB ላይ ነው ኢንተርናሊ ማለት ነው። እና SystemDB one data file log one data እና one log file ብቻ መኖሩ it will lead us to SystemDB contention. So SystemDB size by default 8 MB no, but you guys can set whatever that you guys think is proper for your environment. We don't like to expand outgrow እንዲያደርገን ስለማንል we can give a good amount like a good amount size for a log file and data file. So it's recommended to create a data file per logical processor for SystemDB database until a maximum of 8 data files, meaning that if your server has more than 8 processor, you should create more than 8 data files. No. This is only best practice recommendation now. So keep in mind there are many tool to increase the cost of file switching. So you guys, if your processor is more than 8, then you guys can create 8 data files. So how does the SystemDB use the 8 data files is first of all, like I mentioned, we have to give the same size for our secondary data files. ምክንያቱም it uses a proportional field optimization procedure. What I mean is ለምሳሌ አሁን እዚህ ጋር መጥቼ SystemDB Files, I have only one data file and not one log file. I guess it's clear. So what I meant to say is that we have to create another 7 secondary data files, and now we have to give the same size that we're giving. Otherwise, more size alone I don't like process. So it's important that we give the same sizes for the secondary data files. When we do that, it will use a proportional field optimization procedure, and now it will reduce the applet contention. So this is the way that we should configure SystemDB, and we must configure if our processor is more than 8. At least we should have 8 files. There are companies that creates more than 8, but I think 8 is logical. So the other thing was. So I'm going to show you, like at the end demo, how we can create the 8 extra secondary data files. So the other thing was instant file initialization. So what this is a window feature, no SQL feature አይደለም. So when we create or expand data files, the operating system needs to allocate space on our disk to store a file. And now it allocates the space with 0 before letting the SQL server use it. And this process is called zeroing. With enabling instant file initialization, it will skip the zeroing step. I hope it's clear, but if it's not clear, I can explain more. So what I meant to say is, so let's say where there's expansion going on, ለምሳሌ SystemDB እያደገ ሲመጣ አውቶግሮ ያደርጋል። that's expansion. So ይሄኛውን enable ካላረግን instant file initialization የዊንዶውስ እንትን ነው feature ነው። So እየቆየ ወይም ደግሞ ዜሮውን skip ሳያደርግ ነው it is going to create for us the second autogrow or the second file ማለት ነው. So with enabling instant file initialization, we can skip this zeroing step. That means performance-ን የሚጨምርልን. It might not make sense on 8 ምናምን ከሆነ like it would just take few seconds or less than seconds. You might not see like the effect, ግን በጣም ትልልቅ database ምናምን ሳይዙ በጣም ትልቅ የሆነ data ወይም ለሎግ file, by the way, አይሰራም this thing instant file initialization. It only works on data file. But that case, it's really good, or performance-አችንን ይጨምራል ማለት ነው. So it's one of the things you guys can suggest. Okay, the other one is lock page in memory. Locking page in memory, make sure that the data remains in memory, making it quicker to retrieve it and then improve performance. Faster query execution and overall system responsiveness. This is also one of the things will increase our performance, because performance is very, very important in companies. So you guys might have to know this as well. Right. Okay, database ownership. Does anybody know who should own the database? Ownership, who should own in a company database?
Say.
Yeah. Again, with my company, as you guys have seen, this is like a screenshot from there. It was the database was owned by a person. So this is really wrong, and they have been doing it for a long time, as I mentioned earlier, and they didn't even know about it, or they just, didn't change or didn't do anything about it. So yeah, so database normally creates a database ownership, like a person who creates become the owner, but that's not the way to keep it. As a best practice, the owner of any user database must be SA. And now if we have many databases, we can use like ብዙ ዴታቤዞች በሚኖረን ቦታ እያንዳንዱ ላይ ሄደን መቀየር ሊያስቸግረን ይችላል። So we can use a query that will just show us these are my queries. If you guys are interested to have it, I can send you guys. So on Zikametan, if we just execute this, then we know those 3 databases are. This is just an example for you guys. So we have to change the owner ማለት ነው. So with this query kind of loop አድርጎ እያንዳንዱን ያመጣልኛል. Like I can just simply change this. So what it does is okay. All right, I just do this and then should enter correctly. All right. Does that exist?
Can you remove the space between the bracket?
The space in the bracket, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it should be good.
So እንደዛ ሁሉንም መቀየር እንችላለን if we have a lot of databases. Okay. Yeah, so now everyone is under SA. So this is the best practice as well, and we must follow this. Okay, Sami, go ahead.
Okay, so like the SA account after installing the SQL server disabled now rename yeah, so I mean if you can I know you change it
Yellow
database owner to SA now if it is disabled.
Yeah, owner ለመሆን yeah, that's a best practice like security breach-ን ለማጠናከር SN disable ማድረግ አለብን, rename ማድረግ አለብን. That's even though ከownership ጋር ግን ምንም ችግር የለውም. It can be disableም rename ሆኖ ownership መሆን ይችላል. It has no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, you can try disable አድርገው. You can make it SA like
Okay.
Database ownership owner.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. All right. የመጨረሻው SystemDB Files file placement ነው. Again on the same assessment system databaseዎቹ ፋይሎቹ C drive ላይ ነበሩ. That's really wrong to keep the system database file in C drive because we have to leave C ለአፕሊኬሽኖች እንዲሁም ለተለያዩ ነገሮች እዛ ላይ ዳውንሎድ ለሚደረጉ ነገሮች መተው አለብን. We shouldn't keep anything on C drive which is related to our SQL server. So in our assessment we find out that it was on C drive. So like master TMDB actually TMDB እና log file እና data file የተለያየ ቦታ መሆን አለበት. like let alone like አንድ ቦታ መሆን የለበትም. Does anybody has a question? I don't know. Like መሰለኝ እንትን anyway so መሆን አለበት like የተለያየ like drive ላይ መሆን አለበት የTMDB the master model እና MSDB ደግሞ they shouldn't be on C drive, but any preferable drive ላይ መሆን አለባቸው. So I have actually changed it on my company, like system database ፋይሎችን ቀይር ያለሁኝ ወደ ሌላ drive. ያው first of all, before you guys do anything, take a backup. ምክንያቱም anything fail ሊያደርግባችሁ ይችላል. backup መውሰድ እንዳትረሱ, and then you guys can go ahead and change it. So maybe I can show you a demo if everything works for me. So we can go, and then ጥያቄም ካላችሁ ጠይቃችሁ በዛ መጨረስ እንችላለን. So far ጥያቄ ያለው የለም?
MaxDAP and TMDB configuration like, do we need still do the configuration after installation on SQL Server 2019 and 2022? Because TMDB na MaxDAP after 2019 default configuration recommended I don't know.
Can I take this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I don't know. TempDB already ከ2016 ጀምሮ ዝም ብለህ በዲፎልት ኢንስቶል ብታረግ ሲክል ሰርቨርን without not configuring the TempDB ስምንቱንም ፋይል ክሬት ያደርጋል. Okay, but the key point here is what about if your CP install እያረክበት ያለው server CPU 6 ቢሆንስ? Should you have like 8 TempDBs, 8 data file for TempDB? No. Microsoft recommend የሚያደርገው አንድ CPU ካለን አንድ TempDB፣ ሁለት ካለን ሁለት፣ ሶስት ካለን ምናምን ያለ ሄድና ማክሲመም 8 እና 8 በላይ CPU ካለ 8 TempDB file is okay. Unless otherwise you have a good reason to add multiple TempDB files ማለት ነው. So whatever it is, we need to check and configure the TempDB files. አንደኛ እሱ ነው። ሁለተኛ the default value for MaxDOP is 0, which means that you are allowing SQL Server. MaxDOP works with threshold cost default value 5 ነው እና ዲፎልቱ ላይ ስትተው you are saying or you are telling to SQL Server to use as many as CPU possible when the cost of a query is above 5. ይሄ ብዙ ጊዜ it leads to like CPU weights which is one of the performance penalty. So 19 ሆነ 16 ሆነ whatever, you need to configure these things so that our SQL Server engine works efficiently and perform very well. Is that clear?
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay. Let's see. So when we are changing system database files, first we need to check yet እንዳሉ. So with this query, I would know where are they. They're on C drive. So master log TempDB ሁሉም እዚህ ላይ ናቸው. So this is not a best practice. So we had to create different drives and then give account-ን መስጠት አለብን እዛ ላይ permission, full control መስጠት አለብን. So I will create a folder. I guess I did create already. So this is my account for the server. So I had to give this to my folder. So I do believe I created somewhere here, but yeah, guys, so create folder ስታደርጉ ይሄን ፓዝ follow ማድረግ እንዳትረሱ, because that's how you're gonna like I mean whatever paths you give እሱም ተከትላችሁ ነው create ወይም ደግሞ ወደዛ እንትን የምትሉትና so you guys have to follow. Normally program files ብዙ ጊዜ I like if you are creating a new one by default no program files የሚመጣው. Otherwise you just have to follow Microsoft SQL Server, server nameአችሁን MSQL data የሚሉትን ነገሮች you guys have to follow. So here I think the drive ላይ I have I'll try to show you. So Microsoft SQL, and then I have this folder. Then I have MS SQL, and then data. So I guess I'm good, but I have not given a permission, so I had to give permission. And so properties, security. Full control. All right, apply. Okay, so I have full control አለው ማለት ነው። So that means እንትናችንን ፎልደራችን ፋይላችንን የሎግ እና የዴታውን ወደዚህ ማምጣት እንችላለን ማለት ነው። So the first one I'm changing is let me see, is MSDB. And so you just have to use this syntax now folder ብቻ like ፎልደራችሁን ዲድራይቭ መሆኑን እና ፓዞቹ እንዳላችሁና እዛ ላይ ደግሞ ፐርሚሽን እንዳላችሁ ብቻ ነው የሚያስፈልጋችሁ። but yeah it's like important ነው በጣም like our system databases basically are our server function የሚያደርገው በእነዚህ ነው እና we need to just be careful when we're doing it. It's not a simple thing ለማለት ፈልጌ ነው። So if I run this, and then it will just goes to D file. All right, let me check it. Now if we see it is in D drive, ከዚህ በኋላ ማድረግ ያለብን we just have to go there from C drive የነዚህን ዴታ ፋይል እና ሎግ ፋይሉን እንትኑን ካጠፋን በኋላ which is the like the serverውን ስቶፕ ካደረግነው በኋላ ኮፒ አድርገን ማኑዋሊ ፔስት ማድረግ ነው ወደ አዲሱ ፎልደራችን ወደዚህ። So it's not አላለቀም ለማለት ፈልጌ ነው። So the second one I'm doing is the model. So I have the paths and everything, so that's it. I'll just check again if I did right. They're in D. All right. So SystemDB እንዳልኳችሁ ዲ ከነዚህ ጋር ከሞዴል ከምናምን ጋር መሆን የለበትም። It has to have its own drive, and then we had to create 7 secondary files ካለን ጋር ማለት ነው። ግን this is just a demo for you guys, so I don't have other drive. So I'm just going to create it. I'm just going to take it to D drive, SystemDB as well ማለት ነው። So right. ከዛ ውጪ እንዳልኳችሁ I had a plan to create the 7s, so I'll just run those queries and it'll create. If you guys want to see it here, or refresh here, and then yep, I just created one here. All right. All right, so now SystemDB has 8 data files, 7 secondary and 1 primary data file ማለት ነው። So ከዚህ በኋላ we just have to like come here and then stop. Which one was it? Yeah. So server stop again. We just take from C drive manually copy አድርገናቸው. Then we'll just paste them on the drive ማለት ነው. Yeah, the 3 files. All right, so model. Okay, ሌላም server አለ. So I'm just going to take everything ከማስተር ውጪ ማለት ነው. So I don't know which one is which. MSDB. All right. So now we can start our SQL Server. Okay, so SystemDB ጨርሰናል. MSDB እና ሞዴለር. The other thing left is a master. Master has a different way of doing it. እንደነዚህ alter ተደርጎ አይደለም. And now the other thing is resource DB, which is another system database file now. The resource database files cannot be changed. Location መቀየር አይችልም. The data and log files of the resource database are እዚህ ጋር የምታገኙት. If you guys went to this file exactly, you'll find it there, but you don't have to touch that when you are changing the system data file switching ማለት ነው. So the other one is the last one is a master. So if we come to check the master, it's still going to be in C drive. So we have to follow this way to get it. So already is our pathachil and go, but I'll just show you the way to do it. So we come to the configuration here, and then we go to our server and then properties. And then we come here, and this is where the master is, like where you guys had to change. So እዚህ ጋር እንደምታዩት C drive ላይ ነው ያለው. So I will come here and then just change D. Since I don't have this path, I will just, but I have the rest of the paths, which is Microsoft SQL Server. And then I make sure everything is right. that's it. Update አድርጎ but you guys do it like አንድ ላይ ብታደርጉት it doesn't like አይዝላችሁም. So just do it one by one. So አንዱን ከቀየርኩኝ በኋላ apply አረጋለሁኝ. Okay, and then I'll go back to it again, and then properties, do the same thing. This time I'm changing for log file. Just make sure I have the same paths. And that's for error log. And div, update, apply, and okay. And then we're going to stop our server again. Stop. Don't forget to restart it again. All right. Let's see now, where is everything? So everything is in the drive right now. So this is how you guys change the system database files. ያለው ሰው አለ?
Yes, sir.
I mean, can you explain a little bit on the configuration manager line? You wanna when you change?
እሺ በጣምኩባችሁ መሰለኝ።
Yeah, I mean.
እሺ so ከማስተር ውጪ ከማስተር ብቻ ነው it has its own different way of like changing the system data ፋይሉን ወይም ሎግ ፋይሉን ማለት ነው። ሌሎቹ ቅድም በሳያችሁ ስክሪፕት ነው ቼንጅ የምታደርጉት አልተር እያደረጋችሁ so alter database okay temdb ሊሆን ይችላል አድም ፋይል ማድረግ ከፈለጋችሁ alter database temdb add file name temdb for whatever you guys are logical name yeah just follow the standard እንትኑ ሌላ ነገር like መስጠት ሳይሆን just follow the standard of like what company should has እና ፓዙን ምናምን like you just have to make sure that you have this path ፓዙን ከሰጣችሁ በኋላ ደግሞ you have to give a permission to that folder so that you know you guys can take this file to that folder because the three of them has the same way except as I mentioned temdb has to have its own drive. It shouldn't be with the rest because temdb it's a work place now. Now it can be like temdb contention it has to be in one drive and then always has to be monitored. Master ግን as I was showing የራሱ like you have to go to the configuration manager. I'm going to show you guys again. እዛ ላይ ሄዳችሁ those are the steps actually እዚህ ጋር የተጻፈው you go to the SQL Server Services properties ላይ ትሄዳላችሁ startup parameteroቹን ክሊክ ስታደርጉት ፋይል እና ሎጎ እና ኤረር ሎጎ ሶስቱ እንትኖች ይኖራሉ እዛ ላይ ኤረር ሎጎ ብዙም ችግር የለውም like you can change ግን ደግሞ ያን ያህል ብዙም ችግር የለውም C drive ላይም ቢሆን ማለት ነው normally ብዙም አይነካም but it's up to like the company but you can change ችግር የለውም ነው so D ለዴታ ፋይል ሎኬሽን ነው እዛ ላይ ያለው L ደግሞ ለሎግ ፋይል ሎኬሽን ነው E the error log ፋይል ሎኬሽን ነው so እኛ የምንቀይረው ይሄንን ሁለቱን ብቻ ነው so ምንድነው የምናደርገው እዛ ላይ ስንደርስ አፕላይ አድርገን ኦኬ ወይም ደግሞ አፕዴት ነው የሚለው እዛ ጋር አፕዴት አድርገን ከዛ በኋላ ደግሞ SQL server ኢንስታንሱን ኦፍ ማድረግ አለብን አሁን ኦፍ ባላረገው ኖሮ እነዛን ኮፒ ፔስት አድርጌ ወደ D drive ማምጣት አልችልም ነበር so basically when you are guys changing this always on off እያረጋችሁ ነው ስለዚህ ዳውን ታይም ያስፈልገዋል ማለት ነው you guys cannot just stop serverውን ማድረግ አትችሉም any time so በፕላን መሆን አለበት የሜንቴናንስ ታይም ሲኖራችሁ ዊንዶው ታይም ሲኖራችሁ የዛን ጊዜ ነው you guys can perform this so just to take you back to the configuration ላይ ተመጡና you guys have to select your server which you guys are changing እዚህ ላይ ተመጡና properties ላይ startup parameters እኔ ማረጋው ኖርማሊ የሆነ ነገር ስቴፕ ምናምን ልረሳ እችላለሁ ብዬ ስለማስብ እንደዚህ ጽፌው ነው ከዛ ያያዩኝ ምናምን ነው ማረጋው you guys can follow this method or you guys have a better method እሱን መጠቀም ትችላላችሁ ለኔ ግን እንዳረሳውና ስቴፖቹን ያያዩኝ እንዴት ስለሚረዳኝ I use that method so startup parameter ላይ ትመጣላችሁ so you guys just select this ነገርየው አይሰፋምና so this is you guys have to do this to see like which file ወይም ደግሞ ሎኬሽኑን እንዳላችሁ ፓዙን እንዳላችሁ ምናምን ለማወቅ እና ሎጂካል ኔሙ ፊዚካል ኔሙ ትክክል እንደሆነ ለማየት you guys have to take your time እንደኔ እየፈጠናችሁ ሳይሆን ፕሮዳክሽን ሰርቨር ላይ ምናምን ቀይሩ ከሆነ በጣም ጊዜያችሁ መውሰድ አለባችሁ so D drive ላይ ስትመጡ እዚህ ጋር ብቻ ነው like if you guys have a U drive U ታረጉታላችሁ T ካላችሁ T ታረጉታላችሁ ከዛ ውጪ ያለው ነገር just ይሄንን ፓዝ እንዳላችሁ ብቻ make sure ማድረግ አለባችሁ and if you guys are done with it you make sure that you have it ከዛ አፕዴት ማድረግ ነው አፕዴት ስታረጉት apply የሚለው ይመጣላችኋል apply okay that's it ይሄኛው ደግሞ any changes made will be saved just ነው you just have to say okay to it and then okay so I ደግሞ ለሎግ ፋይል ነው if you guys want to see the must log LDF ይላል so we have this like this paths and ይሄኛው ደግሞ data file መሆኑን እንደዚህ መታችሁ ቼክ አድርጉት MDF and that's it anything would you like Sami or
okay so this is the master እንትን ነው ማለት ነው
yeah
okay I got you
just la master ብቻ ነው so
okay thank you
you're welcome
to add a point here for Sami or ለሌሎቹ ማለት ነው SQL server መጀመሪያ ሲነሳ የሚያስነሳው ዴታቤዝ ማስተር ዴታቤዝ ነው the master database has everything in it like almost ስለዛ SQL server ከበቂ በላይ እውቀት አለው የትኛው ዴታቤዝ ኦንላይን መሆን እንዳለበት የትኛው ኮንፊግሬሽን ላይ ምን እንዳለ so the master database knows everything so መጀመሪያ SQL server ሲነሳ ማስተር ዴታቤዝ ነው የሚነሳው ማስተር ዴታቤዙን ደግሞ ኮንፊግሬሽኖቹ ምናምን in the form of file stored ሆነው ያሉት በዴታ ፋይሉ እና ሎግ ፋይሉ ነው። so this if you see startup parameter እዛ ውስጥ ነው ያለው። ከዛ ነው ቀጥታ ሄዶ የሚያነበው ማለት ነው። that's why like you don't change master databaseን በአልተር ምናምን መቀየር አንችልም። because if the master database is not there you can't do that. ማስተር ዴታቤዝን ራሱን ደግሞ በአልተር ምናምን መቀየር አንችልም። the only thing we could do is we go to the configuration manager, show the master database where it is data file and log file እና ከዛ ሄዶ ማንበብ ይጀምራል ማለት ነው። ሌሎቹ ሲስተም ዴታቤዞች ዩዘር ዴታቤዞች ምናምን እሱ ተነስቶ ራን ካረገ በኋላ ነው ራን የሚያደርጉት። is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
just ለማስተር ዴታቤዝ ላይ አንዳንድ ነገር ለመጨመር ያክል ማስተር ዴታቤዝ ዲሊት ማድረግ አንችልም። we cannot set it to offline እንዲሁም ደግሞ ኦነርሺፑን መቀየር አንችልም። it cannot be part of mirroring solution መሆን አይችልም። እንደገና ደግሞ it doesn't allow us to add more file groups or rename the primary file group. So we can do those things on SystemDB file, not just the master.
All right. Okay. Naum is reaching out that our time is up. I hope you guys have learned something from today's session. If you have any question, if you want any other resources, reach out to Nahum. Nahum can reach out to Eyna or me if you want to have any of the resources that has been presented here. Sessionun ስለተካፈላችሁ በጣም እናመሰግናለን. We're going to conclude it here. Do you have any concluding remarks, Eyna?
No, Nagaling, thank you for attending this.
Thank you guys very much. As usual, but I'm not that was a good session. I think for the first time, on time on Auto Island, I think the whole thing was 1 hour with like a few minutes. So thank you guys. And thank you everyone for attending. As usual, Process again, you will find this whole video YouTube live. Thank you guys.
ስክሪፕቱን ማግኘት እንችል።
Thank you.
ሪሶርሱንም ማግኘት
ችግር የለውም። ሪሶርሱንም ከእናም ከዮብም ወስድና አንድ ላይ we'll be posting it. If we can ደግሞ ቀደም ብለንም ወይ ዋትስአፕ የቴክ ማርኬቲንግ ግሩፕ ላይ ፖስት እናደርገዋለን።